And that today ends our lesson in economic globalization. Any questions?
I have a few questions. I never realized how much of an impact Japan's had on today's economy. But exactly how much has Japan changed and modernized itself because of economic globalization?
Good question. Good question. Asia is a continent in which income levels have risen the most because of globalization. The so-called Asian tiger economies includes Japan. East Asia's place as an economic powerhouse started with the Meiji Restoration. This is when Japan transformed into the only industrial power outside of Europe and the United States. This early industrial economy reached its height in World War II, in which the naval army emerged. Japan expanded its empire and became a major world power. After defeat in war, Japan's economy recovered in the 1950s during the economic miracle. By the 1980s, the economy propelled by Japan became the world's second largest economy. However, in the 1990s,
We interrupt the regularly scheduled program for some breaking news.
we just got wind of Japan's economic crisis going through the last decade. I'm getting information that Japan's GDP has fallen from $5.33 to $4.36 trillion. Real wages have fallen around 5% while experiencing a stagnant price level.
But Japan had been such a growing economy, and many of us had expected that to continue, like forecasted in the Ponson model. Maybe even overtake the US economy and become the largest economy. I have to wonder what went wrong.
Well, Aisha, things were looking up for Japan. By 1990, Japan had caught up to the largest nations like Germany and France in terms of per capita GDP. After this, Japan suffered a lost decade, and then some. Only in 2010 did its economy regain a level of income, last seen in 1995. Today, Japanese nominal output per capita is approximately 96% of America's. Output per capita in Japan peaked at 114% of the Australian level in 1991. However, largely due to macroeconomic policy failures, Japan has really underperformed. But as Japan's labor force increased, their output rose respectively.
So you're basically saying that the jobs outsourced to Japan saved it all from an all-time crisis, whose effect can still be felt today. Japan's policy of lifetime employment, comparative lack of strict work processes, tendency amongst Japanese firms to do everything themselves, and other reasons kept Japanese companies away from outsourcing. Japanese companies now have actually outsourced part of their IT functions, such as data entry and coding to other companies, under fierce pressure to cut costs. Large Japanese companies are increasing outsourcing and sending white-collar operations to Japan and Southeast Asia.
Also China.
Right, China. I have to keep that in mind. Where doing business costs less than in Japan. Japanese outsourcers are hiring Japanese workers to do the jobs overseas and paying them considerably less than if they were doing work in Japan.
It's getting hot in here. Be right back.
And it isn't just us.
It isn't just us.
This has been your the most popular news channel in the 1990s. We'll be right back
After this short break.
Holy cow, it's incredible how outsourcing saved Japan from going under. It gave a chance for those who were unemployed from the lost decade to work and raise their local economy. How great is outsourcing?
Not so great. What about the horrible conditions the workers go through, or how some workers barely make $1 a day? I think you're focusing way too much on the big companies, Aisha.
Say what? Let me break it down for you, Angeli. The big companies are what's gonna lift Japan out of its crisis. Take Volvo an example. Volvo outsources a majority of its cars to Japan, and it really brings in the dollar bills for both Volvo and Japan.
I don't think so. Fiat is a company that doesn't do any outsourcing in Japan, and it's doing pretty well without it.
Are you insane? Volvo or Fiat? Is that even a competition?
Ladies, and Aisha, there's only one way to settle this. Rap battle.
Rap Battle of Social Studies. Introducing Toyota and Fiat. Begin!
My car is loud when your car is dead. Wait, when the light turns green, my engine runs clean. You're not so keen. All your motor does is sound.
Fiats are modern, Toyotas are stale. I wonder what's the next article unveil. All your little recalls are comically loony. Fiat smashing Toyotas are civic duty.
My Toyota is designed by the Japanese. Your car's got the American disease. Higher level of quality control while all your cars do is waste control.
Go.
Toyotas are just toasters on wheels. An ugly first prize they steal.
Foster innovation, free trade zone, keeping free of taxation. Maintaining quality while keeping low prices, keeping profit margins cost efficient. Higher level of quality control, why all your cars do is waste patrol. Each worker is an investment, not a cost. Now you have to agree, you've got yourself beat.
And go.
Fiat is the real deal. We'll serve you a happy meal.
Telling golf practice all around, making a palace, handing out jobs while saving our dough, saving lower class from an all-time low.
They're small, light, and easy to maneuver. Let's all face it, they're the cars of the future.
Boosting our profits while dodging regulation, inventing high-tech applications. Get used to it, we'll have this for generation of sorting without hesitation.
Forwarder. The steering wheels have buttons at the back to tax, so just take a seat and just lean back. With 101 horsepower and fuel economy, nothing can beat this top-notch quality. With the standard 5-speed transmission, nothing is an impossible mission.
Having cheap labor, having cheap merchandise won't catch us. Being overpriced, outsourcing, we ain't gotta think twice.
Toyota outsources, which affects their quality. All of their cars are just frivolity. Battery.
Okay.
Widening the gap between the middle and low class people. Toyota's employees are only paid a nickel. Toyota being dependent and deceitful. The working conditions there are lethal. You're only paying your workers $1 a day. How they gonna eat when they got no pay? Can you hear those chirps? Cheap, cheap, that's you, Volvo.
Ain't nothing but a chicken wing. 「
to Chowder!